So yesterday, in my Discord chat with a bunch of friends, and one of which is my brother, and he pops in and he says, "Hey guys, you might want to check this out before Nintendo pulls it." And of course, we all know when Nintendo pulls it, that means the Nintendo Ninjas. So I was like, "Oh, what is this?" And it's a Link's Awakening HD project. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went over and looked at it, and it turns out it's Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening for the Game Boy, but somebody took it and HDized it, I guess if you want to call it that. And it's for Windows. But of course, I'm not going to play on Windows. My first thought is, ooh, I wonder if I can get that to play on the Steam Deck. So I thought maybe try to give everybody a little shot of that. So this is Link's Awakening for the Game Boy. It's one of my favorite Game Boy games. One of the best Zelda games out there. I'm kind of a odd Zelda fan. I'm a Zelda fan who just doesn't like a lot of the Zelda games, funny enough. This is one of the ones I like. But I'm a bad Zelda fan in terms of I love Zelda. Now, Nintendo re-released this game fairly recently, the last couple of years. Actually, I think at this point it's probably been about 3 or 4, something like that. Link's Awakening, where they redid the graphics and 3D'd them up and made them look like little toys and stuff. And it's a decent enough little remake. It's cool that after all these years they brought it back out. But yeah, this is the real original deal. And this is the one that what we're about to look at is based upon. So what I'm going to do is right off the bat, I just want to explain this is not a tutorial. I'm not going to be explaining how to do this, play this. And if you have a Windows computer, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a zip with an exe. You hit the exe and start playing. You don't need a ROM or anything, which explains the whole Nintendo Ninja part. I think it's a little funny how it's survived this long. It's a shame that Nintendo doesn't endorse these things a little more like Sega always did. But yeah, that's just how things go with Nintendo. They're crazy like that. They are very protective of their things. And I'm hoping, well, of course, now that it's on the internet, it's not going anywhere. It's covered. So what I'm going to do is I did get this on the Steam Deck. It's a little trickier than just going and adding a game to Steam. What I'm going to do is, like I said, this is not going to be a tutorial video. I'm not going to show you how to get this on here. I just don't have the proper tools and all that set up to really do a real good rendition of a tutorial guide video. Besides, people have already gotten them out there in the past 24 hours already. And if you look on YouTube, you'll find them. I wanted to say though, you do not need, I will say right off the bat, you do not need the heroic launcher to do this. So it's an extra couple steps more than adding the exe to your Steam library. And it wasn't too difficult. There was a couple little snafus. But what I will do is I'm going to leave a link below with the proper guide, at least the one I followed, which ended up working out for me, with the exception of one key point where you should probably restart your Steam Deck at that crucial moment in order for the Proton to kick in and to allow this to work and happen. So anyway, this is the Steam Deck OLED, and pretty much what I wanted to do for the course of this video is just kind of show off how great this looks on the Steam Deck. If you didn't know any better, you would think it was tailor-made for it, the way it's set up. I mean, if you want, feel free to pretend that this is a Switch OLED, because I could easily see Nintendo releasing this as a genuine product. If you walked up to somebody and said, check this out, they would instantly think, oh my gosh, Nintendo re-released this? Oh, this is amazing, and blah, blah, blah. But no, it's not official. It's a side fan project, and it's really very cool. There's a couple little things I'm not thrilled about, but that's nothing. That's just a couple little niggles, so to speak, from somebody who enjoyed this game from the very beginning. I mean, I've had this cartridge for 30 years, and I think this is its 30th anniversary, so that's probably why they brought this out. It's a nice little Christmas present. so to speak. But what I'm going to do is just kind of play around with it a little bit, and that's pretty much what the majority of this video is going to be about. So I don't want anybody to think, oh, he's going to talk us through it and trick you or something and make it clickbaity or something. There's better people out there that have better ways of showing how to install this. I mean, I could sit and talk you through it, but I wouldn't be able to actually get it on screen to properly show you, and I'm not going to sit here and do it on the deck. That's just maddening. I mean, I'd rather have it on a computer screen and do like a, you know, a whole to-do video out thing. Guys like Shane over at Monroe World, my buddy at Monroe World YouTube channel, he's good at that kind of stuff. But once again, I want to stress, you do not need the heroic launcher, and I was told to especially tell people this. One cool thing before we get started, I do have this plugin, or it's called, well, it's Decky. Anybody who's a Steam Deck guy will understand what Decky is, I think, especially if you're a little bit of a, like somebody who likes to tweak around, play with things. So Decky allows you to install these little side things that let you do neat little additions to the system, to the Steam Deck. One of them is you can do theming, and the other is you can do your own custom thumbnails for games down here. So I can go in and customize any of these games artwork, like for instance Tiny Rogues and all, or Zelda in this case. So real quick before we get into the game, I figure I'd show you what you can do here. You can change the artwork. So that's pretty much how I got the thumbnails and everything for this. And people create these and they do a really neat job, and there's plenty to choose from. So before we get into it, that's how I got this border art. So we're gonna play it and I'm gonna show it off, and I figured maybe pick out some of the nuances that people take for granted. So right off the bat, there's no way to skip ahead to an official start screen, I've noticed. You can skip this, but you can't get to the actual title screen without hitting the, I mean, if you hit a button, it's just going to take you to the game menu. So I thought, let's play this out so you can see what I'm talking about here. I only played around with it for a few minutes, and I was hoping to just kind of show off some of the gameplay. But as you can see, it's taken up the full screen and resolution of the Steam Deck. And it's hard to tell in the camera, but it looks awesome on this OLED. That's the game I started to play, but I'm going to start a new game. But first, let's check out some of the settings here. You can see how nice and snappy and smooth this is. Look how professional this is. It's insane how amazing this is. You can do controls, you can customize your settings here. And one cool thing is, obviously you've got, you know, multiple buttons on here on the Steam Deck. Obviously, I mean, you're essentially using a Xbox controller for all intents and purposes. So you have more buttons than you would have on, you know, an original Game Boy here. So that alone is going to allow you to do some pretty cool quality of life things and tweaks. So you can feel free to customize this to your heart's extent. Oop. I think I'm all screwed up because I hit this here. Let's see. There you go. I don't know why, but sometimes the controls lose focus when you mess around with this side panel. You can go to the video. You can do a game scaling, which I have not tried yet. I may mess with this in a little bit. For now, I'm going to leave it default. You can do full screen. I'm not quite sure what that means, to be honest with you yet. All these options I haven't really played around with. I'm going to try to go in and look at them real quick. You can change the volume, the language, the autosave, and that pretty much covers it. So like I said, I'm going to start a new game up. And as soon as you start this game, you're going to see one of the little things that they've added, which unfortunately you're probably not going to be able to see on the camera now that I look at it. But all around the circumference of this right here, everything's a little dimmed to make it look like it's a little more atmospheric, to make it look like you're in a little home, you know, that and it's nighttime, or you know, the lights are out. So it's pretty cool. It's an effect that happens a lot of times in caves, I've noticed so far in this. So there's lots of neat little effects here that are going to happen. And I'm not sure you can really pick it up. So anyway, down here you have your item slots that correspond to the buttons over here. We'll get to that in a minute. I mean, the script seems to be just straight from the game. I mean, this is just Link's Awakening HD, so they've tweaked some things here and there, but majority kept it. So now I have my shield, and my shield is represented by the A button. These all line up to these buttons over here. And as I just showed you, you can customize pretty much anything. You hit the, what I like to call select button, or the start button's up here. And the select button will show you your inventory and which button corresponds to the item that you're holding in each slot. And then over here at the map, here's your armor color that you have on, which is obviously green at the beginning. Later on you can get blue and red. And you have the coins up there, your rupees, and your life in the top right there. So we have our shield, and that's represented by the A button right now. But if I go in, let's see if it allows me to, no, see I have to, oh, there you go. I have A here. See, I took it off. Now if I want to put it in X, okay. Now I have it over here on X. So to me, that right there is a huge quality of life bonus. For now, I'm going to leave it at A because my plan is to put my sword in X. Now, in later dungeons of this game, if any fans are out there, you're going to be loaded with a lot of extra inventory, and it's going to help with going in and out, over and over. So, boom, here you go. You can see the obvious difference here. If this was a Game Boy, you would see just this little portion right here, right? Just this little block. And you can almost see the isolated blocks as you go over. If you're very familiar with the game, you can see where these blocks are overlaid, you know, in like a transparent grid. The game is running at a nice smooth 60 frames per second. So I've already seen complaints pop up about this, and that is probably one of the little so-called niggles, as I mentioned earlier. By having the screen and the map all over the screen like this and comprising all the little sub-screens of a Game Boy screen, because I mean, you know, here's a Game Boy screen, okay? That's like that one little, that's where the phone booth would be right now, you know? By having that structure laid out, you're saving a little bit of a surprise as to what the next screen's gonna have, okay? So one of the complaints has been, oh, you're seeing too much of the game at once. It kind of ruins the mystique and everything. And I can agree with that. I totally do. I get it. On the other hand, if you played this enough, it's not that big of a deal. And I would say you can get over that. I'm pretty weak right now. Just have the shield, obviously. So we're going to go down here and get the sword. I think these guys talk about saving the game, right? Yeah. Okay. Oop. I have the power. At the time, it was really amazing how they were able to fit this enormous game on this little cartridge. It really blows your mind. I mean, at that point, I mean, we were a little further along in terms of the Game Boy's lifespan, but just amazing how far they came from games like Alleyway. So here's where I'm going to explain this. As you can see, I have the sword in B by default. I don't want that. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to hit B to pop it down there. Okay, that puts it in my temporary inventory, or well, my main inventory in other words. But temporary in terms of now I can place it where I like. So I'm going to hit X because I want to put it over there, and boom, there we go. All right, and here's your map. You can do a close-up of the map. I got my shield, my sword. So some of the little effects are a little harder to see on camera, but all the characters here have a very, very little shadow, a little bit. If you look around his legs there, you can probably see it a little bit more. Maybe not as much on Link here. Maybe back here behind his hat, you can see it just a very faint outline of a shadow. So it gives it a little more of like it's popping off the screen a little more than normal to the background. It's just very subtle little things like that, which I think are very cool. So let me get back up here a minute. I'm going to try looking at some of the options that we have available. Oops. Keep walking into them. See, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm having a little stupid moment there. Now watch the leaves here. When I hit the leaves, let me see if I can see it. See the shadow underneath the leaves right there? It's pretty cool, right? Once again, this looks so cool on the OLED. This is like one of the lowest brightness settings too. Let me see if I can pop it all the way up here and see what it looks like. See, it blows it out. Actually, doesn't look too bad, does it? That's very low. That's very high. Maybe we'll just leave it. Trying to see how it looks good, how good it looks in the camera. That's interesting. Why is the sword... Did this game glitch out on me? Let me see, hold on. There you go. That's so weird. Something's making a conflict with the little Steam pal. Okay, so by turning the brightness up, now you can kind of see what I was talking about earlier here, okay? You can see around right on the very edge, see how there's like a little bit of a dim... The lights, it's very centered, and then it kind of expands and gets a little dimmer as it goes out. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so let's try playing around with some of these options real quick. I mean, that's the game pretty much for what you're gonna play. And all right, so here you go. See these, you get some haziness in the clouds here. You can see this, see these little clouds floating over? That's another addition. Now, one thing I want to try to show off if I can, the timing's got to be right though. It's one thing that always drove us crazy in the original game, okay? And that was when you would get one of those power acorns. Every single time the power acorn would come on, where you tried to move a rock that you couldn't move, it would just constantly tell you, oh no, you can't do this, or oh, you've got an acorn of power. Oh boy, drove us crazy. I mean, come on. We saw it once, we didn't need to know that information again, right? So I'm gonna try to see if I can get one of these guys to do that. Yeah. I don't know why I keep bumping into them. I think I'm so used to the newer 2D Zeldas where, I mean, in this game you're kind of moving, you can move all over, but something about the grid formations of these guys is throwing me off a little bit, I think. I'd love to get one of those power acorns. But I don't think I'm getting one. Let's see. All right, here you go, watch. Ooh, this looks pretty heavy. You can't just, able to lift this with just your bare hands, okay? And I hit it again. It doesn't say it again. To me, that's a huge quality of life win. Because sometimes you just don't intentionally mean to hit that, and then you're stuck up dealing with all that text again. Yeah, I'm not finding any power acorns. All right, so let's go in now and let's check out some of these settings real quick, okay? So we've got a scaling menu. I don't know. Oh, there you go. See? That allows you to scale in and out. There's auto. Wow, look at that. Now you can really see the shadow around Link too. See that? See the little shadow? It almost makes him like a paper cutout that's on top of his screen. See it by his hat? That'd be a little hard to play because you're not gonna be able to see what's coming at you when you move around. So let's see if we, but we could do maybe 6 scale. Let's see how that looks. Pretty cool. Look at that. See the shadow? That's awesome. It gives it that little bit of depth. Now obviously I can't jump over there. I don't have a Roc's feather. There's these guys. So you still have the option here, okay? You don't have to play the game with the entire map showing all at once. You know, that was the big complaint. Like, oh, I can see everything that's, you know, where it is now. Because you can go back in and change this to, let's see. I don't know, 6 or 7, I guess, right? 5, 6, or 7. Let's see. How's 5 look? I mean, it's smoother scrolling. Now that's another thing. What's that setting do here? Let's try that. So we got a smooth camera. I'm not really sure what the smooth camera does. That looks about the same to me. I'm not really seeing much different there. And my buddies will attest that my vision is kind of OCD with this stuff, but border window and full screen, that I don't think we're gonna see a difference there. That's more of a monitor thing. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to auto. Actually, let's see, what's this look like? 1/2. Oh, that's crazy. Look at that. I can't even see Link now. There he is. I see him. It's right in the center of the screen. That is hysterical. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to auto here. Pretty cool. I don't know what frame. Let's see what that does. Obviously, it just locks your frames. And actually, I think we should be able to even bring that up in here. We go down to performance. We'll be able to get a. There you go. Now we have the frame count up there. I got 60. And look at this. This is great. 92%. We're at 8 hours of gameplay. I mean, you could essentially beat Link's Awakening rather on one charge of the Steam Deck's battery. How cool is that? And you take this to an airport and fly across the country, and you don't have to worry playing this game. You're good for the the majority of your flight, I'd say. So that's pretty neat. Let's see here. I'm gonna put everything back the way it was. So even though I have frames per second lock on, it's still 60. So I don't know. I don't get that. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's about it. I don't really have enough going on in the game here to show off, but as I showed you here, I mean, once you get more items down here, you got those extra slots to just flip and flop into. You don't have to deal with X and A or A and B like in the Game Boy, where you have to decide, do I want to use the Roc's feather now? Or now you can have a Roc's feather here, and you can have the power bracelet there, which is just a godsend. Because now, you know, I could go up here, I could lift that, and then just jump right over without having to worry about flipping back and forth between the two. So cool. Yeah, so anyway, that's pretty much the overview and of what we're dealing with here. If you're a Link's Awakening fan, a Zelda fan like I am, you're going to appreciate this. This is awesome, and I urge you to grab it while you can before the Nintendo Ninjas strike. I'm going to leave a link down below in the description for a guide on getting this onto the Steam Deck that I followed. It was pretty easy to do. You just need a little know-how in the desktop version of the Steam Deck. Now, oh, one more thing before I forget. I have yet to be able to find a adequate way to get out of this game. You can go to the main menu, okay? But I haven't found a way to actually exit the game other than forcing it shut in the Steam Deck's menu here. So, let me hit this real quick here. So I have to do this to shut it off. It's kind of a bummer because, I mean, it just doesn't feel very slick of a transition to get out of a game. But yeah, it's just something I'm going to deal with right now. But yeah, the majority of this is going to be set in the Steam Deck's desktop mode, which is right here. So anyway, what I was saying was I'm going to leave a description in the description below. I'm going to leave the link to the guide I followed and a link to where to get Link's Awakening. And yeah, it's going to be a zipped directory. You unzip it onto the Steam Deck. You can put it on your SD card or you can put it on your main drive. It's entirely up to you. Just remember where you put it. If you're kind of new at this, you may want to just leave it in your downloads directory of your Steam Deck here. There's a way to just Wi-Fi it over on your own local network. Otherwise, you may have to use an SD card to copy it over. You can put an SD card in there from your PC to copy over. But this is where you're going to be spending a lot of the time. Oops, I didn't mean to hit that. That's quick settings. But some of the applications you're going to end up needing on this are Proton Tricks. You're going to need to install the .NET installation, and yeah. You can read it in the little guide that I'm going to link to down below. Like I said, I didn't intend this to be a guide. There's people better at it than I am. So, and they already exist out there. But once again, I urge you, do not use the Heroic Launcher. You do not need that. It's just a whole extra step to be involved with. This is pretty easy. It takes 5 minutes to get going. And once it's on there, you're all set. And once again, also, as I said, you can easily go and change your artwork if you have the Decky plugin. I can even leave a link to that down below as well, if you like. That's its hold to do, though. I would suggest if you want some further instruction on installing Decky or some of these other things, you go check out my buddy Shane's Monroe World YouTube channel. He's got such in-depth Steam Deck reviews and tips and tricks and guides. He'll be more than able to help you with a lot of the more technical aspects of it. For me, I just like to pretty much play on my Steam Deck. I don't really need to get into the nitty-gritty. I just like playing the games. But yeah, anyway, that's about it. Once again, I urge you to check this out as soon as you can. Obviously, it's on the internet. It's not going anywhere now. But might as well get it while it's hot from the original creator of the whole package. Right now, it's at a 1.0. And I have a feeling they waited till they got it to 1.0 status before releasing it, rather than trickling it out with fixes and all, and giving it more noticeability from Nintendo for them to strike it down any sooner than necessary. So anyway, just wanted to show that off from one Zelda fan to maybe a bunch of others. And thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy.